I'm Jody. Welcome back to Cooking or Something Like It. We're going to do a entree dish for you tonight. I know we've been getting a little bit on the exotic side with the shakshuka we did last. Tonight we're going to do a Jaeger Schnitzel, which sounds fancy. It's really not. Jaeger Schnitzel is a German dish. Schnitzel is pretty much a breaded and fried piece of protein. In this case, we're going to use pork. The Jaeger refers to the sauce. Jaeger typically means, not typically, Jaeger means hunter. For those of you that like to imbibe some spirits, Jägermeister actually means master hunter. But in this case, we're going to make a hunter sauce, which involves mushrooms and a gravy made with the drippings from frying the protein. So what do we have here? I've got a piece of pork here. This is actually a cut of a pork shoulder. You could use a pork chop or any real boneless piece of pork. The pork shoulder was on sale, so I bought some of those. They came in big steaks like this. They actually came bone in, but we deboned them and cut them into pieces like this. I have here some noodles. These are just some noodles that I cooked up earlier. All that's on here is butter, salt and pepper, and a little bit of garlic, and we're going to get back to these later, so I'm going to set these aside. I've got some portabella mushrooms. These are baby portabellas. These are going to come in later when we do the gravy, so I'm going to set these aside for right now. So we're going to bread this cutlet, and let me get this pan actually started here because it needs to be hot. And we are going to put some oil in here because we're going to be frying these. We're going to put a liberal amount of oil in there, and just the only reason is I've got a few other chops here. I'm going to show you how to do this with one. Then I'm going to bread the rest of them, and we'll fry them off, and then we'll come back and finish this. So to make the breading, where am I here? I've got 4 eggs. I'm going to take these eggs, I'm going to crack them into this bowl. As long as they don't fall on the floor. I'm sure it'd be entertaining for you, but very frustrating for me.
Gunner will take care of it.
Gunner will take care of anything that falls on the floor, including eggshells, which is kind of gross. Alright, so we're going to take 4 eggs in here. And what we're doing now is just making a basic bread. Alright, so we're going to whip this up. And right on cue, there is Miss Abigail chiming in. She has been quiet thus far, so right on cue. Alright, now in here I have some panko breadcrumbs. You can use regular breadcrumbs, you can make your own breadcrumbs. I just happen to have some panko, so we're going to use panko today. And just, if you don't know, panko is a Japanese style breadcrumb. It's a little bit crispier. This will crunch up real good when I make them. So to that, teaspoon of black pepper, teaspoon of onion powder, teaspoon of garlic powder, and a teaspoon of paprika. Now we're going to take these. I won't use that one, it's got egg on it. We're just going to mix these up. We're just giving a little bit of flavor to these breadcrumbs. Alright? Now actually, you can just use your hands because we're going to have to bread these cutlets anyways. Alright. So, we got that mixed. I'm going to do 1 cutlet here. Alright, so what you want to do is take your cutlet. Let me try and get this stuff out of the way. My kitchen is not big enough to do all this stuff. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it in a Ziploc bag. I'm going to take a hammer.
Come here.
And we're going to pound it flat. You want to be in camera too? Go ahead. Okay. Once we get this pounded flat, now this isn't absolutely necessary, but it does make it a little bit easier to fry them. Alright? Now I've already done that with the other ones over there, so I am now going to take this, I'm going to drop it in the egg. Get it wet on both sides, let that drain off, and put it right in the breadcrumbs. And just get it good and coated. Alright? Just like that. Once that's coated, put it on the tray. And we're going to do that with the rest of them.
Right? Right.
Alright, now this shouldn't take very long. You want to get quite a bit of egg on there because you really want to get these covered. Now the thinner you pound them, the faster they're going to cook. So that's part of the reason we do that, is you want them to crisp up and not burn, but still be cooked all the way through. Now one thing you want to remember, whatever breadcrumbs you have left over, you have to throw away because this is raw pork. And you should not eat that. Alright.
Raw pork and raw egg.
Raw pork and raw egg, good point, yes. So everything that could possibly make you sick. Alright, that one. We got one large one here at the end. Let's get him covered. Alright. Alright, so all my pork cutlets are covered. I'll give my hands a quick rinse here. And like I said, you want to take these breadcrumbs and throw them away. If you do it right, you shouldn't have a whole lot left over. I used 4 eggs for a couple pounds of pork here. You can see what I have here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this foil and slide it off. And I'm going to put a new piece of foil on this. Apparently she did not want me to use new foil. So we're going to do this so that I can put the cooked cutlets on here, because it's going to take a minute to cook these. So I'm going to turn my oven on so I can put the cooked cutlets in there when we come back to finish this. Alright, so tongs. Set of tongs here. We're going to take this one, put it right in the oil. Now I can probably do a couple of them here. We're going to let that cook on one side real good. You want to make sure your oil is hot, so it should sizzle when you put it in there. Just a few administrative things while we're waiting for those to cook. This is Cooking or Something Like It. You can check us out on our website, cookingorsomethingLikeIt.com. If you're watching this video, chances are you know the Facebook page. We also have an Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. So check those out, share it with your friends. We do appreciate that. All of our back videos can be found on the website, as well as the recipes. The recipes are also posted on the Facebook page as we do them. Alright, so we've talked about this before. My oven is not level, so I do have to spin it around once. And panko is going to cook up pretty quick. Now these cutlets are pretty thin. Because I'm going to put them in the oven for a few minutes while I finish this after we're done here, I'm going to be okay with turning them a little before I would if I was just going to serve them straight. Alright, now if you can see that, nice and brown on one side, that's about what we're looking for on both sides. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a break here. I'm going to fry the rest of these up. We'll pull these out so I can show you what they should look like, but I'm going to fry the rest of these, and then we're going to come back and we're going to do the gravy to finish this off. This is a fairly simple recipe. The noodles are to serve over top of, but as soon as these are done, we're going to cut, and we'll be back in just a minute to finish this off. All I'm going to do right now is fry these up. I only have a certain size pan, so I can't do them all at once, so we'll be back in a minute. Stick with us, and we'll finish this off for you. Okay, so as I said, we have I'm going to try not to check a baby here. As I said, we have pan-fried all the cutlets. And you can see they're all nice, crispy, golden brown. I've got my oven at 400 degrees. I'm just going to set those in there. They're probably cooked all the way through, but because I knew I was going to put them in the oven, they might be a little bit underdone. But they'll finish in the oven, don't worry about it. So, in this pan here, I have a little bit of the oil left over and all the drippings from cooking the pork. we're going to put this back on. We are going to take a whole stick of butter. Yes, a whole stick. Don't worry about it. Good things have fat in them. All right? So that's going to cook down. What else do I have here? I have the portabella mushrooms you saw earlier. I chopped them up. So this is a pack of portabella mushrooms like you see at the store. Standard pack. I'm not sure exactly what the weight is. I think it's about 12 ounces, 8 or 12 ounces, but I've chopped them up pretty fine. I have some chives, maybe about a tablespoon of chives there. Those are fresh chives. I have 2 tablespoons of sugar. The sugar is somewhat optional. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it. You don't have to put the sugar in if you don't want to. I think it makes it taste a lot better. I have chicken broth, Worcestershire, this, and I have cornstarch in a measuring cup. Don't laugh at me. You don't know how to say it either. So, all right, we're going to let this butter get cooking and melting down. As soon as that melts down, we're going to put the mushrooms in. I'm going to take a little bit of water to the cornstarch here. And we've talked about to do this before. The cornstarch is really just a thickening agent. So we're going to mix this up. It just works a lot better. You get a lot less chunks when you do it in water like this. So I'm going to leave that work right in there because I'm probably going to have to stir that up once or twice. All right. So that butter is melting down. We're going to take the mushrooms, put them right in there. Okay. Take a wooden spoon. Just stir these around. Now, if you wanted to, you could take some onions, you could take some peppers, put them in there. The traditional sauce is just mushrooms, so that's what we're going to do. Alright, we're going to let that cook down a little bit. Now the chives, I'm going to put a little bit of chives in the gravy. I'm going to save a little bit to plate with. Now we've saved the noodles that we cooked earlier. And like I said, I didn't want to waste time on the video cooking the noodles. These are just basic noodles. These happen to be round little wheels. They're delicious. But I cooked these. You can use any type of noodle. Would you like a noodle? There you go. All right. And I put butter and garlic powder and salt and pepper in here. All right. So my mushroom is pretty much, or my butter is cooked down. We've got the mushrooms going. Turn this heat up. Okay. Now those are just going to take a second. We're going to let them cook a little bit before we add anything else. Now, you do want to make sure if you cook this and you have no oil at all left in the pan. You know what? Here, I'm going to give you 2 this time, all right? You take both? Nope, just one at a time? Oh, there you go. Okay. All right. You have to keep the crowd pleased. All right, so mushrooms are going. We're going to take our chicken broth and we're going to add it to this. Now, this is going to take a second to come up to temp. We have this on high heat. I did heat the chicken broth up to try and slow down the cooking time a little bit. I'm going to take a little bit of the chives, sprinkle it in there. And I'm going to take the sugar and put it in. Now, like I said, you don't have to use the sugar if you don't want to, but it will sweeten it up and make it taste really good. So stir that up a little bit. Let that start going. Now, we're going to take our Worcestershire sauce. It is pronounced Worcestershire. And we're going to put 3 or 4 dashes in. This is going to add a little bit of that umami flavor, that savoriness that you get from anchovies or shiitake mushrooms, stuff like that. It really kind of gives it that gravy flavor. If you've ever seen in the store gravy helper in a little bottle, it kind of has the same flavor. The gravy helper is a lot more intense, for lack of a better word. All right, so that's coming up to a boil. Once that comes to a boil, we are going to add our cornstarch. We want to make sure that comes all the way up first, which is going to take its time here. All right, there we go. We got a little bit of a boil on the edges. Shouldn't take too long. Now you want to make sure any drippings that you have on the bottom of the pan, you scrape up, because that's where you're going to get all the flavor that came off those pork chops. All right. Let that go a little bit. In the meantime, we're going to plate this on a plate like this. So I'm going to get this ready. Okay. The noodles are still hot, so we're just going to put some right in the middle. They are round, so they're going to run a little bit. The traditional with this is egg noodles. I didn't happen to have any egg noodles, so we use round ones, but you can use any kind of noodle really. It doesn't really matter that much. All right. We got a nice little boil going here. Okay, we're going to add cornstarch just a little bit at a time. And then we're going to mix it. Make sure that mixes it real good. We don't want any chunks, so we add it a little at a time. And there we go. And when this comes back up to a boil, it should thicken real nice for us. Yeah, it's thickening up real good there. Okay. Now hopefully you can see this in the pan. It's got a little thicker consistency than just the just the chicken broth itself. So now this is a dish you've probably not made at home before. Schnitzel sounds fancy. It's really not. It's pretty much just a breaded fried cutlet. But this is something that you would probably pay $16 or $18 for at a restaurant. And you can do this at home. I just did this in probably all told 20 minutes, right? So you can see this gravy is pretty thick now. We're going to let that continue to go. And in the meantime, I'm going to turn this heat down. I'm going to pull these cutlets out. You can see, you can hear them sizzling a little bit, so we know they're cooking a little more in there. We're going to take one of these. We're going to place it over top like that. And we're going to take our spoon, shut our gravy off. We're going to take, this is called Hunter's gravy, hence the Jaeger part. We're going to pour it right over top like that. Get a little bit extra for the noodles. And we're going to take some chives. We're going to sprinkle it over the top. And there you go. Jägerschnitzel. Classic German dish, done in about 20 minutes at home. Remember? Remember, cook what you love what you cook. My name is Jody. This is Cooking or Something Like It. I hope you've enjoyed the video. We'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.